Hey everybody, and welcome to Where Are They Now in Sports, live at the Shave in Beverly Hills. Today's guest is a former NFL player who played for the New York Giants, Minnesota Vikings, Cleveland Browns, and the Arizona Cardinals. We at the Shave are so delighted to have Ralph Brown. Hello everybody, welcome back to Where Are They Now in Sports. As you can see, I got former NFL player Ralph Brown in the house. How are you, Ralph?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So, Ralph, you started playing football at the age of what?
10 years old.
10 years old. And what high school did you go to?
I went to Bishop Amat.
Now, that high school right there, what made you pick that high school? Was that a private school?
Yes, it's a private school. They actually recruited me when I was 11 years old. They came out to one of my Junior All-American football games. They told me about the prestige, the talent that was there at the time. And my parents and I said, hey, look, this is a great school. Why don't we end up going there?
And, you know, I'm looking at your school. You actually had 12 guys that played in the NFL that went to your high school. Is that high school, like, known for, like, athletes for as far as just football players, or you got, you know, other talent as, like, NBA guys that made it from that school?
Yeah, well, it's not just NFL guys that have come from that school. It's baseball as well. Michael Young played with the Rangers.
Yeah,
he went to Bishop Amat. Also, myself, Corey Minor, Pat Hayden, the USC AD.
Yeah.
He went to Bishop Amat. There's a storied line there with people who went to Bishop Amat went on and done well in their careers of sports.
And in 1996, that's when you graduated. You actually had a teammate that made the NFL too, right?
Yes.
And what was his name?
And Brian Russell. He was my quarterback.
That was your quarterback. Oh my God, that's a squad. All right, so now let's go to what schools were looking at you that you really felt like, you know what, it's between Nebraska and who? What other school?
Well, it was USC at the time, Colorado, UCLA, Michigan as well. But honestly, it came down to Michigan, Colorado, and Nebraska.
You know legendary coach Tom Osborne at the University of Nebraska. You picked that school. He doesn't start freshmen. How did you get convinced by University of Nebraska and Tom Osborne to play for them?
Well, at the time, the way they conducted their program with the academics, also with them winning back-to-back national titles at the time. So you got to look at if Nick Saban sits down in your living room, and if you're a child or a parent, and Nick Saban comes into your house and wants to recruit you, this is the Alabama heyday. That's how it was when I came out from high school. Nebraska was going into everyone's house. They were the dominant team at the time, so it was hard for me to say no. Plus, academics was high on their list, and that's what was important to me, so that's why I made that decision.
Okay, so how does it work? During your senior year in high school, let's say you graduated already, or during it, what happens? Does Tom Osborne actually come to your house?
Yeah, he was the second round of recruiting. So my DB coach came to the house at the time, and then I sat down with my parents. We discussed the conversation we had. Then Tom Osborne and Coach Brown came in, basically as the closers, to get me to go to Nebraska, and they basically closed.
What did you learn from the legendary coach Tom Osborne when you entered the University of Nebraska?
I learned what leadership was really about. He expressed and exuded leadership. He didn't ask anything of his players that he wouldn't do. He was very detailed, organized, and he showed what sacrifice was, and that's what a lot of us learned being at Nebraska during that time period.
How did you earn the spot being a freshman, starting freshman at University of Nebraska? That has never happened since World War II. Talk to me about that.
Well, I was just really comfortable in my abilities at cornerback. I did really well, just a natural talent at the cornerback position. When I came into camp during the summertime to cover a lot of those wide receivers, I had a lot of support too from the black shirts at the time, wanting me to start as well. So I had a lot of support and confidence, and I made a lot of plays too, so it was kind of hand in hand.
Check this stat out. Coach Tom Osborne, 25 years at the University of Nebraska as a head coach, never had a season that he lost more than 3 games. Is that impressive?
Oh, that's very impressive. But, you know, it took a long time for him to get there, and it's just impressive what he's done.
Now tell me about the tradition of Nebraska fans. Is this true? I talked to my boy Will. He told me that even if you guys lose at a home game, they still give you guys, the fans actually give a round of applause to the opposing team. Is that true?
That's very true. In 1998, when we lost at home to the Texans, the Nebraska fans applauded the Longhorns for beating us as they walked off the football field.
But that's the tradition.
That's the tradition.
So you guys can't get upset about that?
No.
Who was your rivalry team? Who was the team that like when you guys go on the road, who was the team that will boo the heck out of you guys, like couldn't stand you? Which school was it?
At the time, it was Colorado. I mean, they hated us, but also they were like top 10 in the country every year. The Ray Caruth and the Mike linebacker Russell that they had at the time. Neuheisel was doing a really good job with that team, and we were the top team in the country. So that was a real rivalry with the fans. They hated us, throw things at us, and it was an awesome experience.
1997-98 team, okay? Officially the Orange Bowl, 1998. You guys are going to the National College Football Game. This is do or die, okay? This is where it's at. The stage is high. Millions of people are watching. What did Tom Osborne tell you guys in the locker room before the game started? Tell me that experience.
Well, the amazing thing about Coach Osborne is he's such a calming influence and voice when he's talking to us. He told us that there would be some plays during that game where it would be tough in the beginning, but we're going to stick to the running game. We're going to wear them down. And he said at a point in this game, he said that one of their defensive players will make a bonehead mistake or a penalty that would kind of change the game, and it did. And he says by the time the third quarter comes around, we would be running up all of our yardage on them, and we'll run away with this thing. He says, you guys just see.
When you guys won, where'd you guys go afterwards? I want to know, what'd you guys do afterwards?
Well, after the game, we had to wait because we didn't get the announcement that we were national title champs because Michigan at the time won in the Rose Bowl versus Washington State. So we had to wait for the NCAA to vote us as national champions. So after the game, we were all waiting in the hotel to see if they were going to vote us as national champs. So after we heard the news, then we started partying. It was an awesome experience.
Just to let you know, Tennessee, University of Tennessee, who was their quarterback, Ralph?
Peyton Manning.
Oh, my God. And you guys beat him, but what was the score? I think it was 42-something,
Yeah,
right?
It was a blowout.
They blew out Peyton Manning's team. Now, 2000, you got drafted by my hometown team, the New York Giants. Where were you at the time?
I was at my house, and at the time I lived in Laverne, California, and I got the call from the Giants. And man, what a feeling! You know, I didn't get drafted where I wanted to, but it doesn't matter. As soon as you get that call, it's elation and just excitement that you got accepted into the NFL.
When you get to camp, who took you under your wing?
A ton of guys. I got to credit Jason Sehorn, Jesse Armstead, Michael Strahan. Those guys took me under their wing and showed me how to be a pro, showed me how to be a Giant, and continue that tradition that was there.
What did Strahan tell you? Did you remember?
Yeah, Strahan said, save your money. He said, make sure you go out and practice hard. This game will treat you the same way you treat it. And just that's how you'll make your way in this NFL.
Being a cornerback, what was your specialty as far as your style of play? Is it bump and run? Did you do the bump and run, or did you play like a little, give him 5 yards? What did you do exactly when you were a cornerback?
Well, mine was bump and run because I played 4 years of bump and run at Nebraska, so it just carried over and translated well in the NFL. So once I played in the NFL with the Giants, and throughout my whole career, I was comfortable playing press and being in the hip pocket of a lot of the wide receivers.
Tell me what you're doing now. That's the main question. I know it's your journey first on my show, but what are you doing now with your life?
Well, I'm broadcasting. I do high school color commentary for FoxSportsWest.com. I do some for Time Warner as well. I did a show last week for the NFL Network called The Viewer's Guide, and then I cover college football with a Midwest station, Channel 8, KLKN, cover the Huskers. So trying to stay as busy as possible and enjoy talking football just like I am right here.
And I want you to show me later on, as a cornerback, I want you viewers to see exactly what cornerbacks do when the receiver is on the scrimmage line, okay? Ralph, what do you get away with? Let's say I'm the receiver right now, okay? You line up with me, okay? You're playing bump and run. Are there any tricks that you be like that you could get away with that refs will be like, they can't give you a flag?
Well, within that 5-yard buffer zone, you want to get short tugs and reroute the wide receiver as much as possible. So we know the shortest distance between their route is straight. So we want to make sure they try to go as wide as possible around you during that time period because we know that quarterback has a clock in his head.
Okay, so what are you looking at this situation right now? Once the ball is snapped, are you looking at my feet or are you looking at my head? What are you looking at?
I never look up. I look at your waistline all the way down to your thigh. Sometimes I'll look at the feet because you can follow the feet naturally, but I always say at the waistline to the thigh, and you can kind of peripherally see the feet.
Right. So with the bump and run, let's say, okay, set, go. What do you do?
I'm watching your waistline. I'm going up high. I'm going to try to see if I can lock on here to try to control you with my extension. to reroute you and go against that clock, because I know there's a clock in the quarterback's head, and everything is based on timing in the NFL.
Now, here's my question. While the ball's in the air, stay with me, all right? While the ball's in the air, are there any situations, what you're doing right now? If I'm the receiver, the ball's in the air, can you get away with the knees like this?
Oh, yeah, here's the tugs. There's little tugs where you can pull in the back right here to try to pull back to where the referee can't see that. If it's quick enough, it's a nice little tug.
Right.
And then once the ball's coming over into the pocket, you punch, or you watch the wide receiver's eyes, because they always get big when the ball's getting closer. So either turn around or then you punch. So you know how big the eyes are getting on the receiver. That indicates for me to punch through. She knows the time frame that the ball's going to be in there. Now I can rip through.
Oh, so the key thing is the receiver's eyes, because
I
get it.
The eyes react to the ball coming.
Right.
No matter what you're doing with your arms, the eyes are going to get a little bigger once that ball is approaching.
Oh, okay. I get it now. All right. Well, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. Ralphie in the house. As a cornerback, how hard is it? Like, here's what I don't understand, and explain this to me specifically. When you're reading the quarterback, you also have to stay with the receiver. So how hard is it to watch the receiver and the quarterback? You know, because what happens, like, if he fakes pump and you move in, that's it, receiver got you. What do you do in that situation?
Well, it's all discipline of eyes. It's all film study. You have to watch a ton of film, watch for tendencies in wide receivers and quarterbacks, so you can get a nice balance of where your eyes should go with your peripheral vision on certain plays. And then you pick that up as you watch film, as you grow in the NFL, and become a positive player, because you can't do that on every play. Because if you lock your eyes on the quarterback at once, the receiver can get by you or get that first down or make a big catch.
Being a cornerback, who was the toughest receiver that you said, my God, this guy's just killing me? Who was the guy that you had problems with?
Randy Moss. But the good thing was he was my teammate when I played with the Vikings. He could beat anybody off the line. He had speed, and he also had the quickness of a short guy. So you get a guy who's, Randy Moss, 6'4", 6'5", and he has the feet and quickness at the line of somebody who's 5'10". I mean, that's somebody who is talented and can run by anybody. He had great hands as well. Catch.
When you guys make a mistake, a mental mistake, who's on you, the head coach or the defensive coach?
The defensive coach more. And if you're on a really good team, your players will be on you too. Hey, look, man, we got to do better than that. So the defensive coordinator, he is like stressed. Hey, look, man, how'd that happen? How'd you get beat? How'd you give up that first down in that critical situation? That's what a lot of defensive coordinators and players as well will be on you. Hey, look, we got to do better.
2011, you were inducted to the Hall of Fame of Nebraska University football. Tell me about that experience.
Well, I actually got a letter in the mail that was saying that I was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And, I got a little choked up because, that's a huge experience, a huge honor to go into the Hall of Fame at Nebraska with the lineage and the talent that they have at the university. So once I got that letter in the mail, I said, wow, this is kind of blew me away. And once I received that honor, my speech at the induction in Nebraska, I mean, it's something that I will never forget for the rest of my life.
Yeah, they won't forget you either. That will do it. It's my man, Ralph Brown. We're so happy, delighted to have you on the show, of course. Where are they now in sports? Thank you so much for coming out here.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Eddie. Yeah.
All right.